And none of that does anything. That's more of the bullshit that we just ignore that stuff. So you want a hearing? Well, if you want them to prove it, then you ask for a hearing. Yeah, what brand?
Oh, Terex.
Terex, right. So basically the argument is your Terex is not a motor vehicle. Well, it's not an ORV, not an ORV. Okay. So I saw your response this morning. I saw your reply to her response. Did you see those, by the way, the reply? All right. So I think we've all seen the same paperwork. Okay. You want to hit some highlights of your arguments?
I mean, my argument is pretty much cover the whole thing, and like I said again, this goes back to just trying to label this an ORV. And it's strict ORV, like if I took a monster truck up on the roadway that takes up whole roadways, can't turn, make turns in the roadway, right? The way the statute's applied, they could be, and for instance, they advertise like Ford Raptors and such, right? They show them in all the commercials going up mountains, same with Jeeps, all they advertise, hey, take them all off road, right? So the way the statute's written, they can just basically be like, oh, hey, anything with that looks like, pretty much any vehicle is capable of going off road. So any given time, the way the statute's being applied to me, they can just, any vehicle is capable of being taken off road.
Let me stop you though. Let me stop you. That's actually a different argument. So one argument is your Terex is not an ORV. The other argument is their ordinance or the statute they're applying is just too vague. It's just unconstitutionally vague. Would you agree with me that's two different arguments?
I think it's kind of
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. But the reason I want to make sure we're all on the same page, because I think there's two different responses that could come and two different decisions that could be made. Would you agree with me? Okay. So I want to take them one at a time. So first is, well, one would be your Terex is not an ORV, doesn't meet the definition. And the second argument would be, and the definition they're using is overly vague. Okay. So, Madam Prosecutor, pick one of those arguments. Let's pick one and we'll talk about one at a time.
Certainly, Your Honor. Let's start with whether or not we all authority.
Just call it Terex. Just call it let's make it specific to him, the Terex.
324-81122.
Oh, give me that again. I was somewhere else when you started talking. Go ahead. MCL.
81101 sub U defines ORV as a vehicle, a motor-driven off-road recreation vehicle capable of cross-country travel without benefit of a road or trail on or immediately over land, snow, ice, marsh, swampland, or other natural terrain. It goes on to give examples of what is included in an ORV and what are not included as an ORV. Here, the utility terrain vehicle, as Mr. Cusell labels it, is an off-road vehicle. Exhibit A that I included in my motion is a...
Let me stop you. I'm sorry. In your reply to his motion? Is that where your Exhibit A is? Okay, go ahead.
Owner's manual of the parent. It particularly states under basic stage off-road vehicle, the off-highway use only. This vehicle is not an all-terrain vehicle. It is designed and equipped to be a multi-use utility vehicle for off-highway use only. Use of this vehicle on public roads and paved surfaces is hazardous. Do not operate this vehicle on public roads or paved surfaces. In addition, in Exhibit B, I included a relevant portion of the ORV handbook that is found on the state of Michigan's website, and it includes utility terrain vehicles as an ORV. It also, conveniently enough, includes a photo of a near identical ORV that Mr. Cusell operated back on February 3rd of this year.
Okay. Anything else?
I guess I can go further. Mr. Cusell then goes on to liken it to something like a Ford Raptor, a Jeep, monster truck. The multi-purpose personal use vehicle used for personal family conveyance. MCL 324.8112 sub 1 states that an individual shall not operate an ORV that is not registered under the code upon a street, county road, or highway. A Ford Raptor, Jeep, and a monster truck all need to be registered in order to operate on.
Right.
Mr. Truscott was not pulled over for his operating his ORV, but because that ORV was not registered, did not have a license plate. For that reason, I believe that this motion should be dismissed and, the people renew their request for permission.
I have an objection to that, Your Honor.
Yeah, well, it's not an objection, it's a response, but go ahead.
Okay, well, look, again, none of the registration or any of that stuff was even brought up, any of it. They slapped an ORV on it because they had me held in the car for 45 minutes on the phones. I have a body cam trying to figure out what to even charge me with because I wasn't pulled over in retaliation. And that is what they pulled me over for. Reading what was stated and put on there. And going back to liability or the not operating on highway use, it's referring to, we purchased those, I don't know if that involved one or used them. They tell you that they come stock to only go about 50-ish miles an hour. You can get a module to make go highway speeds when they're referring to highway.
I saw that in your response.
The higher speeds, that would be the reason why. And I think everyone does nowadays see how common these UTVs are and see them all over the place.
I got to shoot you down there though, because you spend a lot of time talking about that you see these all over. That doesn't make them legal. I mean, that just bottom line doesn't make them legal. The fact that some
The case hinges on two key arguments. First, is a TX vehicle truly an ORV, off-road vehicle, or does it fall under a different classification? Second, is the statute being applied too vague and open to interpretation? These questions are central to determining the validity of the charges against Mr. Sell. The outcome could set a precedent for how similar cases are handled in the future.
Oh, okay. Do not operate this vehicle on public roads or paved surfaces. I understand your argument is they're telling you to stay off the highway with a stock Terex, but they didn't say highway. They said not safe for public roads or paved surfaces. That's what they said.
What?
So I'm just,
Again, why? Just like how they put on bicycles, they wear all those knee pads and helmets, right? So
I understand that.
they don't operate on public roadways without a helmet.
I understand that's your take on what this means, but the clear language says don't go on paved surfaces.
Yes, clear language and same with the manuals for again dirt bikes, motorcycles,
Right.
right? Yeah, that's still legal for people to drive around without helmets.
All right.
You know, because it's a liability issue. That's why they put it in there.
So,
What people do with something after they purchase it.
so my understanding is that if you jump through the hoops, if you go through the process, it's possible, you might have to add some equipment to your Terex or whatever. But it's possible to get some of these vehicles registered as roadworthy with the Secretary of State. That's my understanding. If it's got, and I made a list, if it's got bumpers at the correct height, it's got windshield and wipers and rear view mirrors. If it's got all this safety equipment, then you can get it registered and put it on the road legally. Is that your understanding?
Oh, no, in my defense, before this even happened, Sergeant Price, there was a part of the.
No. Hold on. I'm talking generally. I'm not talking specifically to you. I'm talking generally speaking. Do you agree with me that there is a process that the state of Michigan has that you can take something that may be an off-road vehicle and you can go through steps and have it roadworthy and registered as such with the state of Michigan? Do you understand? Do you agree there's a process for that?
For certain vehicles, I would say, yes.
Okay, all right.
My specific UTV, they are already equipped and sold, road ready.
Okay.
Again, you go back to the disclaimer, just because they put it in there, it's a disclaimer for there.
Then why have you not registered as a vehicle with the state of Michigan?
Sergeant Price told me I was well within my lawful rights. I stated numerous times, both to me and my wife at the gas station, right where I got pulled over. Well, previously to this, we even talked about it. We had a conversation about it at the gas station. The BP is simply a middle. He instructed me, even told me, you're well within your lawful rights.
Okay.
He said this numerous times. And then I relayed this to Officer, I don't know.
The officer that wrote the ticket.
Yeah, right. And then when I asked him the second interaction I had with him, I asked him, dude, I need to get you, which is part of the body cam. I'm still trying to get a hold of these things because I have to take them to court for it because they're withholding body cam image. Where I asked him, hey, I need you to get a supervisor here to clarify this because he told me I'm not getting a pissing match and drove away. So,
all right, stop there. Hold on. Is it your understanding that there's a mechanism by which if the safety equipment is there, then the vehicle can be registered with the state of Michigan?
But it's my understanding that the specific township or municipality needs to adopt or identify certain roadways that they are then.
To avoid confusion, each argument must be clearly defined and separated. The first focuses on the TX vehicle's classification. Does it meet the legal definition of an ORV? The second questions the statute itself. Is it too broad or vague to be fairly applied? This separation helps in crafting a structured and logical defense.
Even though the state says it's a motor vehicle. Because that's my understanding. If the state registers it as a motor vehicle, that's what they're doing after all the safety equipment is there.
But I think it's for limited use. So like, there's examples in the statute that talks about for limited purposes of, say like parades or something to that effect.
Again, Your Honor.
Hold on. I'm cogitating. Well, it would seem to me that the township's got to get off its ass and do something with their ordinances on register. I mean, if the state's out there authorizing people to drive these on pavement and you guys just haven't decided where they can and can't, it sounds like the township's got to get on the board.
You can look up their one that says, sorry, to be honest, they said it didn't exist.
What doesn't exist? I'm sorry.
So they're trying to charge them with the code they gave, they said it doesn't even exist. I couldn't
Okay.
even look it up.
Brother, you keep throwing new arguments in.
No, I'm sorry. Well, I'm just bringing it up. I'm sorry.
Hold on. Let's not get there yet. I'm making notes so you don't forget to get there, but don't get there yet. I'm having trouble figuring out how the township can tell somebody they can't operate a motor vehicle that the state of Michigan says is a motor vehicle.
Your Honor, I am not specifically prepared to argue that only because Mr. Cruzel's ORV wasn't registered, so it has no bearing on whether or not it can operate.
But it can be.
Sold.
Well, don't get me started with that. I mean, all right, so let's talk about the fact that they've charged you under an ordinance that doesn't exist. My paraphrase of your argument.
Yeah, I've been trying to clarify too and bring it up too, and I've been trying to find it. Doesn't even, the code they cited doesn't even exist.
All right, hold on. Let me get to the paperwork.
I just had one fact I wanted to throw.
Hold on. Don't do that. You're confusing me.
Okay.
Make your notes so you don't forget. All right, so if we look at the ticket, offense code is 257311. Authorization code is, I don't know what that is, 00003.
Yeah, I tried.
Is that, I'm reading it 00003. So I guess let's get a clarification from the prosecutor. What is a specific ordinance, statute, whatever, that the ORV on roadway is being prosecuted under?
So here on adopt the Michigan Traffic Code, which I referenced to, but I also stated in my motion, that.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but the reply that I'm looking at for today?
Yeah.
All right, so let us both know where to find that. Yep.
But, my final argument, or my final, sentence before my argument, ultimately.
Okay.
ORV on the roadway in violation of MCL 324-81122 and Huron Township Ordinance 506-4, which I do have a copy, and it is on and available on E-code 360, which is.
Okay. Could you provide a copy of that to Mr. Cruzel? You only have one copy?
I do.
That's all right. Mr. Cruzel and I can share it. Yeah, probably helpful. Mr. Cruzel, why don't you let me have that for just a minute. We'll make copies. So then you've got a copy, I've got a copy. You got a copy for yourself, counsel?
I don't, but
Let's-
it's word, which is.
Let's make a couple copies of it. All right, so while we're waiting for those copies,
I would like to also add, Your Honor, to make this even more interesting, the township's doing, Police Chief, Robbins, we've known him.
hold on. Two,
Not relevant. He keeps believing there's some sort of conspiracy against him. When in fact we're here today for operating the ORV in the roadway back in February. If there's any conspiracy, it's one that Mr. Purcell's orchestrated himself.
okay, hold on, because I think your objection might have been a little bit premature. I don't even know where he's going.
So what's funny about with the ORV thing is because Police Chief Robbins, we've known him forever. He's our personal ORV had his, my dad, same thing.
Okay.
He even contacted my dad and had asked him, he's here, asked him to have me call him because he couldn't call me for legal reasons. And when he said, he brought up, he goes, man, you can't have an ORV, bro. So he's trying to work out, he even told me he wanted to work out a deal with me. So he sold on the phone.
Courtroom is charged with tension as Mr. Sell faces off against the prosecutor and the judge. Mr. Sell's frustration is palpable. He feels targeted and misunderstood, while the prosecutor remains steadfast in applying the law. The judge, caught in the middle, must balance fairness with legal precedent. This conflict adds a layer of drama to the proceedings.
And he goes, oh, well, you can't have a motor vehicle. So then he flip-flopped the terminology.
Okay.
And there as well.
But I don't mean this to sound condescending, but what's the point of that story?
So they're just the original stop, because again,
There's confusion.
yeah, and that's why they kept in the car so long, because they were trying to figure out what to even do, and that's
Right.
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 So that's where this little ORV step is trying to apply into my situation.
Okay. All right. Okay. I don't doubt there's confusion. I mean, I'm here. Okay. All right, let's get back to the paperwork. You got a copy now, Mr. Purcell? All right. So, counsel, if you can, show us, or direct us, I should say, to specific language where the township's hanging its hat.
Sure. So it similarly identifies the definition of an ORV on the second page.
ORV or vehicles, is that where you're reading? Okay.
And then it goes on to state
Are you going to prohibited activities?
so, I am, yes, 5064 from the activities.
S. Is that where you're going?
Yes, I am.
All right. So just so we're clear, so he knows what he's defending against. It's 5064 S is the prohibited activity, and 5063 would provide the definition that you're trying to apply to his Terex.
And word for word is
All right, Mr. Crucell, now at least you know exactly what language you're fighting. Okay.
Yeah. So again, with that, but I got good law. It even, that I look back behind and showed that even Jeeps and trucks, and they're advertised and sold and shown as recreational vehicles off road and everything. This would allow the township or the state to just at any given time be like, oh hey, we don't like you, so here we're gonna side with an RV money for any vehicle that's capable of going off road, because that's just what they want to claim it as. I mean, that's just so ambiguous. It's outrageous.
But I think her argument a few minutes ago, maybe more than a few now, was, but all of those are registered.
But that's not what was the issue with Annie. That's not what I was even, no one even brought it up at the time that I was arrested. He stopped, none of that stuff. I was just stopped in peer retaliation. I wasn't charged for any of that stuff. No one brought it up. And again, going back to it, I was previously told I was lawfully allowed to do what I was doing.
What do you think the retaliation's about?
Because I had $200 with this officer. He's a new hire. And what happened was this all stemmed from the fact that our neighbor.
Oh, just bad blood between you individually?
Well, I guess so, because I didn't even know him for a whole year prior to this. And it's even in their notes and everything that my neighbor kept calling saying we're reckless driving with our kids. And it's even on the thing that he was intoxicated almost every time he's calling. And they stopped coming out. And Officer Price even said, we're not coming out messing with you guys. We're not doing nothing wrong. And this is going on until this new hire kid shut up. And I told him, I was like, dude, you need to go talk to Dane. You got to go do it. This has already been taken care of. This guy keeps calling. You even told the who's the lady, when they call in a freaking
Dispatcher?
dispatcher. Put in the note several times, the guy's intoxicated, just making calls. And that's why they stopped coming out. I told them this. And then, but yeah, it was the next day after I told him, dude, you need to go get your supervisor here, please, so we can figure something. And that's when he told me, I'm not getting a missing match and left. And I know his body cam's out, I've seen it. And that's why part of the body cam I'm still trying to get, but they won't give me. And there's still other parts and stuff that other body cam that I know is missing, I'm still trying to get a hold of. Because and then Officer Smith, they're in body cam even talking that they were purposely, all that officers was the side or like it was, yeah, that he was purposely watching for him. He's on the phone talking about this. He's also on the phone with Everett and a couple other officers trying to figure out applicable laws because he didn't know. They arrested me based off something he thought he could arrest me on. It wasn't even an arrestable offense. And then he come in. The only reason he found that out was because he had called FOIA lady, Judge Oakley. And then the original officer stopped me. He couldn't even finish filling out the citations. Officer Smith, who was his supervisor, had to get in the car and finish filling out. And that's what they ended up because he was on the phone the whole time trying to figure out what to even put on the thing to charge him. It's been an orchestrated event the entire time. Up to leading how, especially shows even more that there was collusion. It's how I got an unsigned order and all this stuff sent to me. It was more just threatening and intimidation. And that's what.
Oh, unsigned order.
Yeah, in the very beginning, I got a default order that's unsigned, didn't have no.
Oh, no, brother. No, brother.
I know.
Hold on. Stop. I gotta say this. Listen, that's just timing. That nobody from here on Township called up here to one of my clerks and said, screw him. It's because it happens all the time when there's a misdemeanor tracking, people forget to deal with this. We got a speeding ticket you're in default in right now.
I'm grateful for people that work in the department that people are always conversing between the judges and the prosecutors.
But I'm telling you right now, that none of my clerks defaulted you to try to cause you trouble. It's in the computer and it happens all the time. The misdemeanor case is tracking it slower and you don't realize you got to do something different with the civil infraction. So a default enters.
Hold on.
I have to tell you, there's no conspiracy against you on that default. That's just the way shit happens. It's just because the computer tracks things differently with misdemeanor and civil infraction. And that's all fixable. Okay. Anything else that we didn't talk? I mean, I cut you off a couple times saying, don't give me a new issue at this point. Anything that you want to bring up?
I got pretty much all my arguments for being here. This is clearly
What's going on with the body cam? You claim you can't get body cam.
He was also reporting this incident himself, so he had.
Well, that's a different issue, though. Part of discovery is he's requested body cams. You're saying he didn't provided those.
He's filed at least an FOIA request from township, including any of the stops or any of the citizen complaints that police have been called out to, but also including his wife's traffic stop.
I'm not getting into all that, but you have provided him body cam footage of interactions. You're talking on top of me, counsel. You have provided him body cam footage of interactions between he and the officer that issued these tickets. Yes? All interactions. You don't have them.
I know for a fact there's a couple of videos missing.
All right. Do you have dates of incidents?
I do, but I don't have that stuff with me. That's all part of my lawsuit thing of filing for the circuit court for the FOIA lawsuit stuff, and I got all that stuff organized at home for that.
But that's stuff that you think you need to defend yourself here.
Well,
If it's not, that's okay.
well, I mean, it would also just schedule.
No. I just need to know, because if you're prepping to defend for trial and that's discovery you think you need, then I'm going to order that they provide it.
Well, I'm here.
Okay. All right. So you don't need that to prepare for this case.
Not this motion here.
No. The underlying charges against you.
Oh, I would absolutely need that if this is
Okay.
Oh,
then we're going to need you to provide dates. So you want body cam footage if it exists from interaction between you and officer so and so for this date and that date.